And we are live. Good morning, Crypto Warriors, and welcome back to the Gem of Crypto, episode 522. Today is Friday, December 20th, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday. And our top stories today: largest South Korean telecom company issues blockchain-based local currency in Busan. Ripple raises 200 million, cost 2019 its strongest year of growth. Russia is unhappy about Greece extraditing money laundering fintech to France, and new draft bill aiming to classify crypto assets have been introduced into Congress. What's going on, Tony Noli? But first, of course, let's go ahead and check out these prices, and boom. Again, not a lot of price movement still. We got a lot of chop. Bitcoin's at $7,122, down 0.09%. Ethereum's at $127 almost, up 0.28%. Ripple's at 19 cents, up 0.268%. Litecoin's at $39, up 0.31%. EOS is at $2.48, up 1.2%. So a little bit of green, but again, everything is going up and down every few minutes. So not much of a story here. What's going on? Pennywise from New York. All right, top story of the day. Largest South Korean telecom company issues blockchain-based local currency in Busan. That is right. The CBDCs are rolling out. People, it's happening already. South Korea's biggest telecom company, KT, just announced the launch of a local blockchain-based currency for one of the country's largest cities, which will reportedly go live on December 30th. Local news outlet Dong-A reported on December 19th. Oh, this is about to be some word soup for me. Dongbakjeon is a blockchain-based card-type local currency issued by Busan City to revitalize Busan's local economy and ease the management burden of small businesses. It looks like there's multiple ways to access the currency, including a mobile app, a bank app named Hana, and Busan Bank. It says right now the article is noting that participants can only use the currency at any store in Busan with a credit card terminal, although compatibility will reportedly be less common among larger retailers in an effort to encourage spending at local smaller businesses. So cool to see this. I guess we're kind of seeing how these CBDCs will play out, or I guess just centralized cryptocurrencies, which this is definitely one. And it's very similar to what you could expect to see from Libra. The only difference, of course, is the market share. Libra has almost 2 billion people, which is a large percentage of the people on the planet, where we have 7.1. So he has over 20% of the human population for his company, whereas this local currency in Busan that's being issued by this telecom company is only native to South Korea in general. So, but at the same time, it would be a good way to look at what could come with Libra or other centralized cryptos that come from private companies and big private institutions and organizations, similar to this telecom company here. But again, it's the same as a CBDC, essentially, because at the end of the day, it's all connected to your bank account already. The numbers in your bank account already represent. If anything, they're just airdropping real money or loyalty points for certain stores, if you will, and they're allowing you to purchase things through that. So again, not a decentralized, fully formed cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, but they're claiming they're using some type of blockchain, of course, which again, since we don't know which one, we're just going to assume it's their own private blockchain, which would make it its own private database, thus making it another centralized crypto or money transfer business, such as the same as what Facebook's trying to do with the Libra project. What's going on, Tommy Brown, Sergeant Crypto, PFC Wells? Hello. So again, not a big story here, but something to pay attention to, because I'm sure other companies are going to try to bring this to America. All right, Ripple raises 200 million, cost 2019 its strongest year of growth. Look at this big little XRP right here, a symbol getting swole. I like this Cointelegraph for the artwork as always. It looks like Ripple, the blockchain payments firm behind XRP, the third biggest altcoin by market cap, has raised $200 million in a new funding round. Led by the close-ended investment company Tetragon, the new Series C funding round was also joined by Ripple's major Japanese partner SBI Holdings and venture capital firm Route 66 Ventures, the firm announced on December 20th. This funding will reportedly help Ripple to continue improving its global payments network and the broader utility of the digital asset XRP and the XRP ledger. The announcement reads, It looks like despite the 73% sales drop in Q3, Ripple has still seen a strong yearly growth. Of course, this is coming from CEO Brad Garlinghouse, who would never say they're having a bad year. But it looks like Ripple is claimed to have customers in over 45 countries, 6 continents with payout capabilities in more than 70 countries, and seeing a tenfold year-over-year growth in transactions. So again, it looks like Ripple is continuing to do well despite its price right now. Of course, we know it's at 19 cents, up a whopping 2.83% from yesterday when it was at 18 cents on the low end. Now it's on the high end of 19 cents. But if there's people still pumping $200 million into the project, then again, they might have some life left. They might have some trade left. And I think they do, as long as that Fed Now coin or the JP Morgan coin or whatever those other banking coins, as long as those don't get established immediately or in the next year or two, I think Ripple still has growth. And even those coins do get established here in the United States. You have to remember, Ripple, as they said, they're on, what does it say here, 6 continents, 70 different countries they can do payouts at. 45 countries, 6 continents. So even if it does happen in the United States where we get this JP Morgan coin or we get the Fed Now coin, a lot of those are going to initially be centralized or be used only in the US. So Ripple will still have growth overseas. And that's, again, if those coins get made in the next year or two. So there's still time to trade it. Again, I don't see its long-term use case, but I do see in the short term how you can use it. Banks are already trying to use some type of blockchain technology to make payments more efficient, at least on the back end. So that's what Ripple's there for. It's already ready to go. So I can see them using them until they create their own. That's right. Jizzy Max says, meanwhile, Ripple bleeds out. Right. It's almost like they had this story ready for a rainy day in Ripple land, and that day is finally amongst us. All right. Russia isn't happy about Greece extraditing money laundering fintech to France. Story we've been covering now for the better part of 2 years. Alexander Finnick, the alleged former operator of now defunct crypto exchange BTCE, will be extradited to France, according to a new decision from Greece. Again, this is following years of disagreement on what jurisdiction should care about the alleged Bitcoin laundering suspect. The Ministry of Justice, Transparency, and Human Rights has reportedly decided to finally extradite the Russian citizen to France. This news was reported by the Russian embassy in Greece on Twitter on December 20th. Now, if you remember, this story comes from the cryptocurrency exchange BTCE going defunct after it was stated that, hey, money had been laundered through it. Now, our conspiracy theory, of course, was the amount of money that was laundered through it and where some of that Bitcoin came from also came from the defunct Mt. Gox exchange from 2014. I mean, literally some of that same money from Mt. Gox was being laundered through BTCE allegedly. As well as them claiming Alexander Finnick was the mastermind behind the exchange. Now, it gets even deeper because a lot of this money coming from BTCE could have been involved in a lot of different things, going from elections in different countries to reasons why we even invaded some countries, Syria, or looking at you. But in the point that kind of surrounds that makes it more truer than it is conspiracy theory is the fact that Alexander Finnick, who has been on a hunger strike, has been sitting in a Greece prison for the last 2.5 years on United States orders, saying that he is the mastermind, when Russia, neither confirming or denying it, also said that, hey, we want him to return back to home for us so we can prosecute him and figure out what happens next. The same way, if the United States and Russia were fighting over a United States citizen who was being arrested in another country, the United States would expect that person to be sent back to us or to one of our neighboring friends. So in this case, Russia did not get what they wanted. It looks like Greece tried their best to stay out of it, which is why he stayed in Greece for so long. But eventually he's being extradited to France, as we're seeing, of course, a partner in the United States. So I'm assuming once he's in France, if he doesn't get the full extradition here back to the U.S. or here to the United States, then we'll bring some type of advisors over to France to question him there and to figure out what he has or what he knows. But it's crazy. Again, this has been going on since July of 2017. The conspiracy theory behind it, if you want to go back to some of our old videos and follow it, this happened around the same time as SegWit2x and the infamous New York agreement, where all those corporate businesses tried to take over the Bitcoin network, and then Bcash came. This happened that same month, people. And literally after the day after they arrested him, I can't remember off the top of my head. I look back at the old videos, but the day after they arrested him, I believe it was the same day the U.S. came out and put the sanctions against Russia or whatever. So I'm telling you, this is about $200+ billion that was laundered or went missing. This is the same money from Mt. Gox, and Mt. Gox happened around the same time the United States decided to go into Syria. So again, all this money, missing money, and all this stuff going on, I'm telling you, it all links up, especially when you start to look at it again the day after he was arrested, the sanctions the U.S. brought against Russia, and all this other stuff without even mentioning cryptocurrency or his name in it. It happened literally within 24 hours. So I'm telling you, it's a story to go pay attention to. I think it has a lot of other geopolitical connections to it. Again, that's the conspiracy part. But other than that, the biggest news of this is that Greece has finally decided to send him over to France. Of course, Russia isn't happy. I'm sure the U.S. is a little bit happier as it gets a little bit closer to us. What's going on, P-Man Van? Happy holidays to you. All right, and last but not least, new draft bill aiming to classify crypto assets has been introduced in U.S. Congress. That is right. Paul Gosar, an Arizona congressman, has introduced a draft bill aimed at finally bringing regulatory clarity to the cryptocurrency industry in the United States, according to a Forbes article published on December 19th. The Cryptocurrency Act of 2020 sounds like some regulators get their hands on it. The Cryptocurrency Act of 2020 sets out which federal agencies should regulate each type of crypto assets. Of course, the three different types they're looking to cover will be defining them as crypto commodities, which will be economic goods or services stored on the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, of course, with representations of U.S. currency or synthetic derivatives resting on a blockchain, and crypto securities cover all debt, equity, and derivative instruments on a blockchain. And of course, this person is saying, hey, we don't want one regulator to rule them all. We want to separate them. Of course, have CFTC covering the crypto commodities, have the SEC covering crypto securities, and of course, having FinCEN, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, regulating cryptocurrencies. I call all of it robbery. Again, the blockchain, the system, everything is working right now today without all these greedy people regulating it, as they say. The second thing is, there is not a way to regulate it, people. Again, if the United States goes this route and we say we're going to regulate, we're going to use taxpayer money, create all these task force and all this good stuff, there is nothing stopping Mexico from saying we want to regulate it the same way. Canada is saying we want to regulate it the same way. Every other country out there saying we want to regulate the same way. That's only possible if you own it. The United States can do that right now because we own the United States dollar, or at least we have stake in it when it comes to the Federal Reserve. So we can say the dollar will be regulated as XYZ. Same with the derivatives market we've created around the dollar. When you talk about NASDAQ and the Dow, we can say it's going to be regulated like this because we control it. With Bitcoin and many other cryptos, they don't control it. So the fact that you still have congressmen coming out saying, hey, these are the ways we're going to label crypto assets and this is how we're going to regulate them, they still have no clue what they're even talking about and should not even be in the space or allowed to regulate because they don't know what they're talking about. So it's crazy that, again, we're still beating this dead horse, trying to figure out how to use taxpayer money to regulate something that is unregulatable, if you can say. And even crazier, this is where we talk about the narratives. I say watch out for this from big institutions and company. Watch out from it from regulators. Now they're saying, hey, we're going to start labeling these things crypto commodities, cryptocurrencies, and crypto securities. I do not agree to those words or that narrative, and neither should you, because the moment you start to accept this, the same as we saw CBDCs get mentioned in a random article and now becoming a real thing, this being mentioned in a random article will become the new buzzwords. Well, is it a cryptocurrency or is it crypto security? Or is it a crypto commodity? Because you know that determines who gets to regulate it and who you owe money to some sort of way. Trust me, you'll owe money to somebody from this. So these are words I don't want to get used to. I don't know what a crypto commodity is. I don't know what a crypto security is. I know what cryptocurrency is. I know there's utility tokens. I know there's different types of tokens, but I don't agree to these new words they're trying to sneak into the narrative. And neither should you, because I'm telling you, in about 3 more months, when you start seeing crypto commodities and crypto securities as a real word, expect the regulation to come right behind it. And again, we know these regulators start mid-January after Martin Luther King Day. So with it being about 4 weeks upon us, make sure you keep your eyes and ears open for these changes in the narrative going into 2020. Let's see. Yes, P-Man Van said we don't need their corrupt blow noses in blockchain. Do your fiat and leave us alone. So bringing this up in my presentation tomorrow, the game is on in 2020. Oh yeah, 2020 may be the last year to get as much crypto as you can. So expect the narratives to change. Expect for institutions and banks to go full force as well as the government. Other than that, that is the show for today. Make sure you smash that like and share. And of course, we'll see you all next week with some more crypto news. Cheers.